Japan is famous for its haunting and terrifying horror movies, many of which have been remade in the West. From a haunted videotape in Ringu to the grudge-filled ghosts of Ju-on, there is no end to Japan's creativity when it comes to creating scary stories. But long before the most popular movies, Japan has been home of countless ghost stories and urban legends. This is Melissa After Midnight. Sit back, relax, and enjoy these 4 Japanese ghost stories that are sure to keep you up at night. Number 1. Probably one of the most famous Japanese ghosts, or yokai as they are called in Japanese, is the unfortunate story of a young and beautiful servant girl. The story is thought to originate in the mid-18th century and tells of Okiku, who worked as a dishwasher at the Grand Himeji Castle. Over time, her beauty caught the eye of one master samurai, Oyama. Despite his attempts to win her over, Okiku rejected him each time. Oyama did not take this rejection well. He decided if he couldn't win her affections naturally, he would have her by force. Okiku was responsible for washing 10 precious and valuable plates in the castle. One night, Oyama hid one of the plates and framed Okiku for breaking it. The punishment for such crime would surely be death. So Okiku desperately counted the dishes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There was no 10th plate, no matter how many times she counted. Aoyama told her that if she became his lover, he would tell the master of the castle that it was not Okiki who lost the dish, sparing her life. Disgusted, she refused him once again. Aoyama was furious. He ordered Okiku to be beaten with a wooden sword. The horrific punishment did not end there. She was then tied up and suspended on the castle's wall. Oyama cruelly lowered her into the water over and over, beating her himself in between. He furiously demanded that she become his, and she refused, for the last time. He dunked her into the water once more, leaving her to drown. Soon after her death, servants and residents of the castle reported seeing terrifying visions of her ghost climbing out of the well and wandering the grounds, desperately searching for the missing plate. She would count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. When there would be no 10th plate, she would let out a ghastly scream heard throughout Himeji Castle. Anyone who heard her scream became terribly ill, and those who heard her count, all the way to 9, died. Terrified, the people of the castle pleaded with the Lord to do something about Okiku. He called upon a priest to exorcise her spirit. The priest was clever. He knew of her story and suffering and came up with a plan to lay her to rest. That night, the priest went near the well and waited. Eventually, she appeared. Okiku counted the plates, and as soon as she reached 9, the priest shouted what Okiku had been searching for all this time. 10! Okiku's spirit, relieved the missing plate had been found, never haunted the castle again. Number 2. In Japan, it is believed that a person who dies a violent death cannot rest easy, coming back to wreak havoc among the living. The Kuchei Sakai Onna, or slit-mouthed woman, is believed could be one of those spirits. Her story is old, with some believing it to have originated over 1,000 years ago. A common interpretation of her story is that she was the wife of a samurai who was called to battle. When the samurai returned home, he found that his wife had been cheating on him. Furious, he took scissors and sliced her face from ear to ear and killed her. Now her spirit wanders Japan. She will approach people, especially young men, at night while wearing a face mask. She will ask, "Am I pretty?" If you say yes, she will remove her mask, revealing her grotesque mouth. She will ask again, "Am I still pretty?" If you say no or scream, she will immediately slit your mouth like hers and kill you. If you say yes, she will follow you home and slaughter you in your sleep. It seems that no matter your answer, your fate is sealed as soon as she approaches you. Some stories, however, do have ways to safely get away. It is said that if you throw candy or coins at her, she will be too distracted trying to count them, allowing you to run away and save your life. It may seem silly, but it would be good to remember if you are ever approached by a strange woman wearing a mask. Number 3. Japan is an island nation surrounded by the ocean. Thus, many ghost stories involve the sea or shore. Ghostly women who haunt the seaside, killing sailors and fishermen, are called Aiso Onna, meaning seashore woman. One such spirit is known as a dakai, found in cliffs of the island of Saga Prefecture. The name comes from the local pronunciation of a Japanese word for cliff, dangai. If they come across a fisherman sitting next to a bonfire, she will approach acting like a beggar and will ask for a fish to eat. No matter if the fishermen give her a fish or not, she will attack as soon as she gets close and drain their life essence from their bodies. Once again, the story goes that even if you try to appease the ghost, you will die if she approaches. But much like the Kuchisaki Onna, there are stories about how to trick her. One such story is that of a fisherman and his sons who went swimming in the ocean one day. When night came, they lit a fire and relaxed on the shore. After a short while, they were approached by a strange woman. "Please, would you give me a fish?" she would ask. The fisherman knew immediately what she was, being familiar with the ghost story, and cleverly ordered his 2 sons to go to the boat and fetch a fish for the woman. The sons obediently went to the boat. However, the 3 had not been fishing that day, so there were no fish in the boat. They called out to their father, "We don't have any fish." The father, of course, knew this as a fact. He pretended to be confused and shouted back, "Surely there are fish. Let me see." He made his way to their boat to help his children search. Once the family were all in the boat, he cut the rope and held the anchor, and the boat set out to sea. Enraged, the ghostly woman ran to the edge of the sea and screamed at them, but she could do nothing to stop their escape. This story led to fishermen of the islands developing the habit of only laying anchor, not tying up their boats with mooring lines. This allows them to simply cut the anchor line and quickly get away from the dakai. Number 4. Along with Okiku, there are 2 other ghost stories that make up the Nihon Sandai Kaiden, Japan's big 3 ghost stories, Oiwa and Otsuyu. As a bit of a palate cleanser, let's talk about Otsuyu. Her story was originally a Chinese folktale that was adapted by the Japanese in the 1600s. and rather than being a tale of revenge or murder, hers is more of a love story. The story is also known as the Peony Lantern. It takes place during the Oban festival, which, much like Samhain of the West, is believed to be the time when the dead return to the land of the living. The story goes like this. During the first night of Oban, a recently widowed man named Ogiwara came across a beautiful woman walking down the road with her servant while carrying a lantern with a peony motif. Ogiwara fell in love at first sight and approached the woman, whose name he would learn was Otsuyu. It seems she fell in love with him as well, and the two would make love that night. The two remained together throughout the night until Otsuyu had to bid her new lover farewell before dawn. Ogiwara was saddened by her departure, but Otsuyu would return each night with her peony lantern. They would always make love, and each time she would leave before morning. Ogiwara was saddened by her departure, but Otsuyu would return each night with her peony lantern. They would always make love, and each time she would leave before morning. Over time, Ogiwara grew more and more infatuated with Otsuyu, to the point of obsession. He stopped taking care of himself and wouldn't even leave the house. After 20 days, his neighbors became worried. One of his neighbors heard voices from Ogiwara's house one night and peeked into the home. He found Ogiwara, of course, but instead of a beautiful woman, Ogiwara was embracing a bony skeleton. The skeleton moved and spoke as if it were alive, and the neighbor fled in horror. After dawn, the neighbor went to Ogiwara and told him of what he saw. He urged him to go to a priest at a nearby temple, which Ogiwara did. There he saw Otsuyu's grave, along with an old beat-up lantern with a peony motif. Otsuyu had been long dead before Ogiwara met her. The priest gave him a charm to place at his door and told him that he must resist her ghost. The charm worked, and Otsuyu did not come back again. Despite knowing the truth, Ogiwara missed his dear Otsu and began drinking heavily. One night, he drunkenly made his way to her grave. When he reached the temple's gate, Otsuyu's spirit was waiting for him. Ogiwara went missing and his neighbors noticed. Perhaps he killed himself due to grief, some wondered. The priest, however, had a different theory. He dug up Otsuyu's grave and opened her coffin. There he would indeed find Ogiwara, dead and wrapped in a bony embrace. He was finally able to be with the love of his life. Which of these ghost stories was your favorite? If you had to come across one of these yokai, which would you choose? Would you choose to placate the ghost of Okiku, or would you attempt to trick the Kuchisake Onna, or the Daki? Or perhaps you would choose the deadly love of Otsuyu? Comment below. This is Melissa After Midnight, and this was 4 Japanese ghost stories. Thank you for listening. Subscribe for more spooky stories and terrifying tales. Sweet dreams.